Mech pilots, online. Battletech manuals, online. Long-term memory, offline. All systems bungled. Initiating BungleTech podcast.
Hello, MechWarriors. In our 29th deployment of BungleTech, my spheroid co-host Michael and I share some updates in our extraordinary Proclamation segment before we take a moment to appreciate the registered tables in the Global Campaign Initiative, taking a look at who is playing, why they're playing, and what they're playing. So, sit down, pour yourself a tea or crack open a Timbiki Dark, and relax, MechWarriors, as we dive into some mech metrics.
Bonus objective. Extraordinary Proclamation. Initiating.
Honorable listeners, I'm excited again to once again be privileged to project noise from your speakers. Before Michael and I start today's episode, I wanted to share 3 updates. 1. The second mission of the global campaign has been launched. Let the adventure continue. As a reminder, we release every new mission on the 27th of each month. 2. We've released an updated version of the operations manual. The manual now includes a few new things to help improve your table's experience, including making little trauma tracker cards that you could print off for players that are tracking how they're overcoming the trauma. We added the addition of the Mech Merchant Bolts Battlefield Bazaar. And we added another page to the FAQ section based on questions we've encountered so far. 3. Next month's episode is an exciting one. I'll be away, and Michael will be piloting the bunker, that's a metaphor for our podcast, with a special guest in the hot seat. Get stoked for it. Knowing Michael, it will be our best episode ever, or at least our most sensual. Also, I wanted to take a quick second to apologize for our podcast stepping away from our traditional format as of the previous few months. Obviously, there has been a lot going on with the global campaign and more. But every day, we get closer to having the capacity to once again be consistent with our traditional format. Soon, my MechWarrior friends, soon. As another side, I want to once again offer a sincere bellow of appreciation for our global campaign contributors. Dante Abbey, Denim and Steve from the Mech Bay podcast, Seth from the Mercenary Star podcast, and of course Michael from BungleTech, our podcast. All these contributors have not only been going borderline insane trying to understand my deranged mind, but have as well been sweating it out, helping us create content and refine the campaign. The campaign's polish and quality is a direct result of their contributions and passion. Do me a big solid. Literally right now. And if you know them on social media, ping them and give them a big thank you of appreciation. Heck, if you know them in person, even give them an uncomfortably long hug and say it was from Michael. And now, a quick word from our con.
Clan members, family members, Loremaster RetroLazer. Join me in welcoming a new Bondsperson who comes bearing fruits of technology. Welcome Fullmetal Gundam to Clan Kodama, a mob bound not only by tradition, but by our shared pursuit of progress. Today, we welcome you not only as kin, but as a bearer of something extraordinary, a new type of technology that will shape our future. With your arrival, we embrace a new branch of possibility, one that extends toward a future seeded with potential. We stand ready to be a coordinator and to wield this miraculous Gundam, as you call it, with honor and responsibility. May your journey with us be one of honor, and may your contribution strengthen the Kodama name for generations to come. Clan, strong together!
Primary objective, podcast topic segment, initiating.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 29 of BungleTech. I'm honored and privileged to once again be joined with the extra tolerant, super sophisticated, sensual Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hello. I accumulate ever more honorifics every time I'm introduced. Pretty soon the episodes are just going to be like 5 minutes of introducing me, 5 minutes bungling, 5 minutes Professor Michael, I assume.
That could be a new format, which I could support. I have nothing but honorifics for you, good sir. So I can keep going. I can keep going if you want to. We can spend the time. Listeners, if you want more honorifics for Michael, comment in the episode saying we need more honorifics for Michael, and I will make that happen.
And how many honorifics for Nathan? 1.
Just my name. Can't my name be an honorific?
Nathan.
Yeah. The meaning of the name is quite the honorific. So, yeah, it's Nathan. Or just Nathan. It's just Nathan. All right, Michael, what are we doing today, bro? What are we here to do?
Well, I don't really know. As many times when you start these episodes, it sort of started as a concept. We don't really know what we're doing anymore. We're just bungling our way through it, listeners. But we're sort of gonna talk about the Super Mech Super Sunday introduction to the Global Campaign Initiative. We had a ton of tables sign up, and we're super excited because there's so many people taking part in this. So many people signed up for Super Mech Sunday. It's gonna be a blast.
That's right. Michael and I are looking at the data we've gathered so far for the Global Campaign Initiative from the Super Mech Sunday Super Sign Up Form.
Super Sign Up Super Form.
Excuse me. Take my honorific away. I am now nameless.
You are no longer Super Nathan.
Lots of people have signed up, guys, and honestly, the scope of this thing is huge. And so we're going to look at the data. We're going to pull out some interesting observations we had about it and really take the time to honor the participants of the global campaign.
We're here to laugh with you or laugh at you if that's what you're into, which based on some of your responses, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yes. In general, the responses for the campaign were pretty, how can I say it, lighthearted and fun-focused. It's good. And what's great about that is, honestly, there's lots of intangibles about why submitting that form is valuable for us. But one intangible that really came out of this is the vibe of the player groups and why people are getting into this. And, from my perspective, looking at the data, it's pretty clear that, people just looking for a good time.
MechWarriors just want to have fun.
Oh my God. Can we do a remix of The Girls Just Want to Have Fun? Cause MechWarriors just want to have fun. Yeah, that's cool. I can vibe with that. I can dance with that. Get a little jig on. Okay. Before we get into the data, we're going to do something a little bit crazy. 55 tables at the time of this recording already signed up. And the people are still signing up. It's still coming in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment to give a shout out in name to every single table that is registered. And why are we doing this? Why are you listing and naming 55 tables, Nathan? And why are you making me listen to this? Because I really want to emphasize and I want you to feel the scope of this. Because every single name here is a table ranging from, 2 to 8 players. This thing has grown huge. And I want you to know as a participant or as a listener or as a future participant that you are part of a big thing here. That you're not just alone. It's not just you and 2 other tables. No, there are a lot of people participating and you're giving us a lot of data that then we can leverage as, the facilitators of this thing to really create a fun experience for you. And honestly, this give and take relationship, like even looking at the after action reports we've gotten so far, we really see the passion. We see the passion in this form. That's really filling us up with more enthusiasm for this thing. If only 2 people signed up and there was no information that was shared, it probably would be dampening our enthusiasm for the effort we spend. But our enthusiasm
But don't
is
worry
ramped
about that,
up.
listeners.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We got enthusiasm for days because of you. All right, let's do it. Let's jump through this list alphabetically. I will start, Michael.
I will follow Nathan.
In the global campaign, we are joined by the 108th Razgriz Legion,
And Ace's Space Cases.
the Acer Battalion,
The Arctic Wolves Tactical Force.
Azure Fury,
Black Banner Bastards of Wendigo Jones.
Black Powder Masquerade. What a name. Love it.
Blazers Bastards.
The Boom Boom Brigade,
Bovies Bad Moon Battalion.
Breakfast Bandits, and pause. Isn't that from Home Alone?
No, those were... I don't think they were the Breakfast Bandits. They were... Darn, it's on the... I'm pretty sure it wasn't... No, they were the Sticky Bandits.
The Sticky Bandits.
Or the Wet Bandits.
I thought that...
One of the
Oh,
two.
yes, Wet Bandits. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, back to it.
The Catfish Casino PMC LLC.
Chris and the Maroots,
The Cracked Canopies.
Creeping Purple,
Elgra's Inner Sphere Insurance Adjusters.
Explosive Enterprises,
Fenrir's Fangs.
Fenwick's Firebrands,
The Fox Patrol.
Freedonian Armored Special Assaulters,
Garistas.
Herd of Nerds,
The Heritage Combat Unit, aka the HCU.
Isobel Irregulars,
Lanterns Light Cavalry.
Mads Marauders.
Manon's Marauders.
Is that Manons or is that Manan's
Marauders. Manonan's Marauders. Manonan's Marauders. One of those. I hope I got it. If I didn't, send us an email.
If he didn't, maraud us.
Don't maraud me, bro.
Marcus Meters,
The Magressy Cavaliers.
Men of La Mancha,
Montgomery's Marauders.
No Name Merc Co.,
Red Countess's Raiders.
Redheaded Stepchildren,
The Redundant Royals.
Riders of Ronin,
Serrano's Steel Horse.
Shadowvex,
Scondian's Schism.
Strikers Thunderbirds,
Sternjaeger.
Sweatmongers,
The Bash Brothers.
the Crimson Commandos,
The Puppy Brigade.
the Shark Guard. Having those two contrasting, the Puppy Brigade, the Shark Guard.
And I think the Puppy Brigade were our very first registrants.
Yes.
So shout out to the Puppy Brigade. Keep it up.
And I think that they're actually a very young group too. If I remember, I think it's a parent facilitating the game for their kids. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. Get them into brutal blood sports as early as possible.
Michael, for the Puppy Brigade, let's give them a howl right now. 3, 2, 1. That's for you,
Is that
Puppy.
what puppies howl?
Yeah,
like?
that's totally. Yeah, that's a puppy. That was great. That was great.
All right, back to it. The Stone Wyverns.
The Trash Canimals,
The Thunder and Lightning Company.
Thunder and Lightning Squad,
The Triskelion Guards.
Tumian's Corsairs,
Venom Inc.
and last but certainly not least, Windsor's Wranglers. Wow. Yeah. Did that take long? Probably. But you know what? That's the scope, guys. That's how many
It was worth it.
tables have registered. That's crazy. That is unbelievable to my brain. And once again, more are coming in. That is, whew.
The phones are ringing off the hook. I don't know if that's still a thing that people recognize. No one calls into TV stations anymore. That's kinda...
Go watch a movie from the 80s and then you'll hear the line, okay? It was referenced all the time. All right.
Anyways, it's gonna be a bash of a Super Mech Sunday with all this huge lineup of ugly mugs
That's right.
and beautiful mugs.
Yes. More beautiful than ugly, I would argue. The cracked canopies,
Every single one
gross. But everyone else,
of them.
ooh, beautiful.
Called out.
Called out. All right. Let's get into it. What do we find? What do we find, Michael? So let's do a quick breakdown. What's the Alpha Strike Classic split? Well, I will say that I'm happy to report that Classic is the winner, thank God, with 31...
But only narrowly.
31 tables are Classic, 24 tables are Alpha Strike. And the reason I say thank God is, as you know, this is a classic BattleTech podcast. And so we're really leaning on Steve from the Mech Bay to do those conversions. So I just didn't want this to become the Global Campaign Initiative brought to you by Steve from the Mech Bay podcast. I didn't like, we had to have more of the classic. So anyhow.
We do love Steve, and, we love all of our players, but, I don't know, I guess it would feel kind of sad and kind of like we're old. They have Classic has finally been surpassed.
Yes. So we're barely scraping through. Happy to have both groups, but just thank goodness that the Classic podcast organized event has more Classic players than Alpha Strike. I don't think that's too dramatic to say.
And that's always our motto here on BungleTech, barely scraping through.
Well, one thing we did in terms of, we actually compared some of the Classic and Alpha Strike data, and one thing I found to be a pretty unique observation was that Alpha Strike players were more confident than Classic players in what their performance would be in the games. Not by a significant margin, but 10%. Alpha Strike players were 10% more confident than Classic players regarding how well they would perform.
Now, do you think this is just because, Alpha Strike players are soft and used to winning?
Yes. Yes, Michael. It's because Alpha Strike players are soft. That's exactly how I feel. I couldn't have summarized it better.
That said, the fact that on average, all of the lances are pretty confident in winning for the most part. Some of them are going to be disappointed. Not everyone can win Super Mech Sunday.
That's true. But everyone can win the global campaign by participating.
Yes, the real victory in the arena is the global campaigns we campaigned.
We should really make I participated in the global campaign and all I got was this lousy sticker or something like that merch, and send it out to players at the end, figure something out. I don't know. It could be cool.
Do we have any funding for this campaign?
No, it's completely digging into a hole of debt. But isn't that what this podcast is in general, Michael? Let's dig deeper.
BungleTech, let's dig ourselves deeper into debt. Have we mentioned we have a Patreon?
Oh, God, did we mention we had a Patreon? All right, what cool observations did we pick up? There's quite a few little notes here that I found. One thing, I was just curious to see what was the most common word that was used in names for lances, and it turns out to be thunder, with 3 total lances using it. There's a thunder vibe going on. I mean, obviously 3 out of 55 is not that common, but still, the Thunder and Lightning Company, the Thunder and Lightning Squad, is there some sort of relationship here? I don't know. And I think you guys should coordinate and figure that out.
You told me that Thunder beat out Marauders while we were chatting before, but I just read half of 55 names, and Marauders showed up 3 times. So actually, Thunder is only tied with Marauders.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Dude, how'd I miss that? But so really, the only... Wait a minute. Let me check this. So are you saying that Marauders...
Run the numbers again.
Marauders, you're
live
right.
On air.
Oh, my God. We need a lance called... Someone sign up with the name The Thundering Marauders. Or something like, combine the 2, and then you will have the strength of those 6 lances will be behind you in spirit. You will 100% win. Whatever there is to win. If winning is even an option. I don't even know anymore. We don't know. But Thundering Marauders. That is an ultimate lance name. Combine the two, be the combination of the most common terms used. That's a great idea, right?
Yeah, and Marauders is one that like I expect, that's a classic. You can't go wrong being someone's Marauders or the something Marauders.
Yeah.
Thunder's a little bit more unusual, but I think it was probably biased a bit by having 2 Thunder and Lightning, one company, one squad. One of them brought more to the table, I can say that for sure.
I wonder, the Thunder and Lightning Company is an Alpha Strike group, and the Thunder and Lightning Squad is a classic group organized by the same people. Let's dig into the data.
They don't look, they've reported different team captains, and they are both classic tables.
Okay, no, and they're different. They're different.
So, if they end up facing each other in the arena, that's going to be one strangely cast. It'll be hard on the announcers, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, cool. So one thing when I was looking at the data too, there's lots of fun stuff in here, but I took a look at the reason for joining. And I was both surprised and not surprised that the most common reason for joining was money. For some reason, mercenary units, that's why they're participating, for money. Shamefully, 55% of forces were just strictly, we're about making bank, baby. Give me those C-bills. That's what they said.
Come on, what about love of the game?
Yeah.
What about love of the dangerous, brutal blood sports on Galatea?
Well, the top 3 were literally money, 55%, fame at 13%, and fun at 11%.
I'm with the fun folks.
There you're with the fun folks. We just want to come get in some blood games here, some blood sports going on. That says something about your brain, Michael. But I do want to give a quick shout out to the only person who voiced achieving a personal aspiration as their goal, and that was Bovie's Bad Moon Battalion, who their reason for participating in the games was so that, in quote, so my wife will find me more attractive and my mom will be proud of me. I would like to say I don't find any correlation between participating in the global campaign with this, but I hope you achieve your personal aspiration, good sir. Additionally, we did some looking at what people will use the money for.
Very important. When you're here for the money, but what are you going to do with it? It better be worth it. Some of you may die. Some of you may never be the same. You have to kill. You probably already killed, let's be honest, but you might die.
Well,
you're doing this all for the money. Love of money.
So they better all be good reasons, Michael. They better all be good reasons. Well, what are the top 3? Well, the first one is the most consistent theme, and that is expansion, growth of the mercenary company. Pretty aligned to money. Makes sense.
That's just solid. I'm going to invest it in index funds,
51%, yeah. The second one is a little bit more scandalous, and I had to aggregate some data to come up with these titles, for example, expansion, what I'm about to say, but I classified this 18% as sexy party time. 18% of forces are participating in Super Mech Sunday with the objective to spend their money, their C-bills, putting their life on the line to achieve sexy party time.
I mean, it's got to be worth it or something, right?
I'm just a BattleTech nerd.
You might die on the arena and never have sexy party time again, so you got to make sure it's good sexy party time. It makes sense to me.
Michael, as someone that has steeped in sensuality their entire life, that sweats sensuality, have you any experience with sexy party time, or can you explain it to the audience out there that might hear that and be like, what does sexy party time mean? Can you sit back and
No, I don't think I could. Sexy party time is not something you can explain. It's something you have to experience.
Oh, man.
That's what we're all about on BungleTech here. BungleTech. We're here for the sexy party time.
Hey, strip heat management. We have that party game mode. There you go. That could interlink maybe.
The hints were there from the start.
And the third most common reason or utilization of the winnings from the games will be for food at 8%.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 51% at expansion, 18% at sexy party time, and 8% at food. I would like to give a shout out to the Arctic Wolves Tactical Force, who referenced that they would be spending all their extra cash on charity. Specifically, they said, all extra cash will be dutifully donated to the charitable fund for MechWarriors, widows, and orphans from the Kodama incident. Classified top priority, access only. The Kodama incident. I want to get the appropriate classification to hear exactly what that incident was about. We need more
The records are
Kodama
sealed.
lore.
There's nothing we can do.
Wait, you're the one that holds the records?
Listen, my hands are tied. The records are sealed. The phones are ringing off the hook.
So how do you feel about those observations so far, Michael? Does anything stick out to you that you're like, wow?
I mean, like, it's kind of the lineup you'd expect for a bunch of rough and tumble, down on their luck mugs signing up for going and risking their lives in the bloodier of the two blood sports planets. It all makes sense. And I'm sure they'll all just have like a great time. They'll participate in the sports. Galatea will continue being a nice, stable planet on which to build your mercenary company. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a good time for every single one of these lances.
Well, definitely the ones that win are having sexy party time. I assume sexy party time is like a good time. It does, it could be a sexy bad party time. I don't know.
Don't get your hopes up.
Behind the curtain, the sensual Michael. You don't want to be back here. It's not that good. It's not all it sounds like it's going to be. So
listen, you come to Galatea to literally murder people for sport, and you think it's just going to be a nice, fun time with sexy party time, but sometimes you're the one being murdered, and sometimes the blood sports get a bit out of hand. That's all I'm saying.
So we took that data above and we did some correlation. And some interesting observations that came out is that, there were some strong alignments between motivation and spending. For example, those who participated for money tend to put their winnings toward expansion or sexy party time. Fame as a motivation is often linked to expansion and relocation in terms of how they will be spending their money, implying a desire to grow or influence their status or change their status. There were some less frequent but slightly notable choices, which revenge appeared only once as a motivation. There's a lance that is participating in the games because they want revenge. And their corresponding spending choice was expansion, which makes sort of sense, They're seeking to bolster themselves so they can strike back against a foe that have hurt them. And most interestingly, of course, there was a subcategory of money and intoxicants rather than just money as a motivation, money and intoxicants. And that aligned directly with sexy party time. So if you had money and intoxicants, you were spending your money on sexy party time always. Okay, so the direct correlation.
I can't argue with those statistics. The direct one-to-one relationship of... but sexy party time doesn't always have to include intoxicants, but many times it does.
Oh, okay. Taking notes, listeners? Okay, note number 1 about sexy party time from Michael. It's not all you hope it's going to be. And number 2, it doesn't always have to involve intoxicants, but it can. Okay, write these down. This is super, super important. There was, a few little confidence insights that we found, which is that obviously expansion was the most frequent choice, and it was consistent across all confidence levels. But people with higher confidence are significantly more likely to invest in growth. And indulgence, i.e. sexy party time, is exclusively linked to confident participants. So, once again, back to sexy party time. If you're like, I'm spending my money on sexy party time, you're damn confident coming into these games. And on the opposite, if you came into the game saying, okay, I got to spend my money on food and legal fees, well, you're lower in confidence in comparison to the sexy party time people, so you might not be invited. Sorry.
Because Super Mech Sunday, it's attracted lances from all different points in their like career. You got people at the top of their game. Lances with highly decorated and lots of sexy party time, all the way down to those beaten, battered, and bruised lances who are just trying to get through and pay all of their legal fees. All sorts end up on Galatea.
So, do we want to start diving into the mech data before we get into the special move data?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the mechs. And I was actually really surprised as I was going through this. So, not everyone listed off their mechs. Some of you don't know them. Some of them are going to get blown up, so it doesn't really matter. But out of 149 mechs that were listed as being fielded in Super Mech Sunday, there were 96 different chassis, which is like staggering. Like, I have never seen such diversity in mechs before. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Like, I guess I'm just the boring one, always fielding boring mechs up against Nathan's friggin' like Jenners and fire starters all the time. So, I guess I'm used to there being like, hey, there's like 20, maybe 30 mechs out there. But nah, there's a lot of mechs. There's some weird ones. There were 2 quads.
Whoa, damn.
2 quads signed up.
Damn, that's cool. Yeah, that's much different, because that basically means like it's pretty much 2/3 of mechs are unique chassis, right? Or chassis.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. I mean, that really speaks to breadth of the BattleTech universe, but it also speaks to, I think, the flavor that people are approaching this campaign with, which is, like been pretty clear that the campaign is narrative based. It's fun first based, and I think with that in mind, I think people's choices have been really consistent. You don't see lots of mechs that are necessarily the ideal optimum mech, although you do see good mechs for sure.
Yeah. So, looking at the few mechs that were popular, so these are the most chosen mech platforms. They aren't necessarily the same variants. I wasn't about to write down every friggin' variant. Do you know how much work this was already? Get off my back, listeners.
They're screaming at you right now. I hear them.
I can hear their voices already. Okay, so number 1 most chosen mech, somewhat surprising, but not actually a crazy choice, the Charger. That's a reasonable choice for an arena, cheap on the BV, meaty and hard to kill. I could see that, being like an arena darling.
When I hear about the Charger, I really wonder how much that has been influenced by the Venerable Tex, because, he speaks about that a lot, and I wonder how much that has encouraged people to try the Charger. At our table, because I'm participating as well, we actually have our Charger in our lance as well, and yeah, get in there, shoot, punch.
It's everything you need.
It's everything you need. So very cool.
Yeah. So then tied for 2nd and 3rd, we have the Panther, which is mostly this high because there were 2 different lances who brought 2 Panthers each, which, for Panther lovers out there, good for you. Like, it's an extremely solid mech. Lots of people talk about mechs punching out up above their weight class. The Panther is like the prototypical punches above its weight class mech. It's cheap PPCs. It's good mech. It's good mech. Good choice. The other one tied for 2nd/3rd is the Caesar. Nathan, can you tell me about the Caesar? Why is the Caesar so popular? Why did 5 people, and this wasn't like one like Caesar heavy lance, this was 5 different lances, each brought Caesars.
I wonder if there's any correlation to if it's classic or Alpha Strike, because the new miniature was released as part of the Mercenaries box set.
Oh, everyone's got their shiny new Caesars they need to field. Okay, that makes more sense.
And it's like the Caesar is classic. It has one of the weirdest classic arts too. It's very like, man, it's almost like you could confuse it for a battle armor. Like the old school art almost looks like it. Like this huge glassy cockpit and stuff like that. The redesign's nice, but honestly, the Caesar, it's a solid mech. So I think that.
Well, let me tell you, Nathan, Sarna disagrees with you. As Sarna describes it, that it was originally a reverse-engineered version of the Capellan Confederation's Cataphract, intended to mask development while the Federated Commonwealth was developing the Axeman. And, quote, the Caesar would turn out to be good, but not a great battle mech in its own right.
Well, isn't good great in the BattleTech universe? Like, isn't good great enough, Michael?
So anyways, I wish all the best to all those lances fielding their good but not great brand new Caesars.
And I do like to see Panthers so high up here because, I've fielded Panthers quite a bit, and they're just a fun, decent mech, total obvious shortcomings, but some really good strengths. It's just a fun little mech to put on the table. So Panthers ain't nothing to joke about.
Yeah. And like I say, there are a couple lances that brought 2 Panthers each. So, that's like for the BV cost, it's like you're bringing a heavy with 2 PPCs or something, but instead it's two cheapy little lights that can run around and flank you.
And what I hope is that the people that did that on those tables, that they spent their BV and split it across 2 mechs and 2 pilots, and then they're like, the brother and sister Panthers. You know what I mean? Like, and then they can do strike formations like Panther Claw, Panther Pounce, and they have to scream it at the table
until one of them gets clipped by an AC-10 and
then it
gets laid
and
out.
The next attack is Panther Revenge.
And then in 4th and 5th, we have, they're choices. You got the Axeman, 4 people chose an Axeman. Good for an arena fight. Got an axe. And at least one of them, at least one participant, the Fredonian armored special assaulters, Lord Baron, who is running the company, will eat an apple, peeling it on the axe of his Axeman, which I quite impressive. Probably like that's some fantastic dexterity. You have to train for years in an Axeman to do that.
Well, see, what I'm wondering when I read that is the pilot getting out, climbing down the mech's arm, climbing up the axe, and then holding on and like using the apple to like scratching the apple against it? Or is the apple like on a table somewhere and the axeman's axe is coming down and slowly peeling it or having it in one hand? Either way, it's an impressive feat, but one is like more like, piloting technically impressive, and the other one is more like you're just a jack calisthenics athlete climbing up this with no fear. So yeah, either way, it's impressive, but in different cool ways.
Well, I for one am hoping that Lord Baron wins, just so that I can see what is meant by this. All right, and then also in 4th/5th place, we got 4 people bringing Jenners.
Yes. That's right, baby. Jenners on the table. I almost brought 2 Jenners. I almost did a brother-sister Jenner strike force, like I said about the Panthers. That was option 2. But I decided to go with a Mauler myself. But I was almost 2 Jenners. I was close. This number would have been at 6 instead. Oh, I could have tied it for first. Oh,
you could have tied for first. You could have brought Jenners up into first place.
I didn't think other people were going to choose Jenners, but the Jenner's amazing.
Okay, but why? Okay, I understand the Jenner has a place on the battlefield, but you're coming to an arena fight. Why are you bringing a Jenner? You don't even have arms.
Can't hit me, man. Too fast. Get in your back.
They can and will.
Impossible. Impossible. It's clear to me.
What's the speed difference between a charger and a Jenner?
Oh, a Jenner is way faster than a charger. Charger doesn't stand a chance.
Okay.
A Jenner could take 5 chargers at the same time. A Jenner could take 10 Atlases at the same time. The Jenner is the top tier mech. To a skilled pilot. That's right. To all those Jenner players out there, I love you.
Nathan's Jenner propaganda getting to our listeners.
It's good mech, and it's cute.
All right, and so looking at weight classes, it's not exactly what I expected. So the top category was heavy mechs. That was the most popular one with 45 signed up heavy mechs. Reasonable. You want some tonnage. You want some meat. And then second most common was lights. I think probably people after Nathan's heart who are like, can't hit me.
Can't hit me. Too fast.
Can't hit me.
Gotta go fast.
So,
gotta go fast.
It's a classic pairing, heavy and a light. And then in third place, the oft forgotten mediums with only 31 mechs signed up as mediums. I'm fond of mediums personally, but I don't know. There's not as many like exciting ones in there. Those are your workhorses. And then kind of surprising to me, only 29 assault mechs, which isn't like, massively fewer, but I guess I sort of expected more people to just bring like the big stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and I mean you could definitely afford some assaults. I think that I'm surprised as well, but I'm super happy to see like especially the light number that high, because one thing we really wanted to, like, the campaign overall is an objective based campaign, and I think also that number might be a little bit higher because of the trauma system as well, because now as a light pilot, if you get nuked in the head and you would normally be dead, you just come back traumatized instead. So there's maybe a little more incentive, like a little more leeway to play those lighter weight classes.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm happy to see that breadth. Like, and I'm just sad that assault number is not 27 and that light number is not 39. Why didn't I bring those 2 Jenners?
I will say, of the assault mechs, a full 20% of all the assault mechs being fielded are chargers, which is kind of wild.
That is wild, actually, yeah. Now, if only we could take all those charger pilots and put them in a single force, they would truly be unstoppable.
And then we also had a handful of vehicles. We had 2 different people bringing hover vehicles, 2 people bringing tracked vehicles. We got a wheeled vehicle, and we got a VTOL. Which, brave.
Yeah. Brave. Honestly, I love VTOLs though. I got to get some, like, if we can somehow get some VTOLs in the campaign. VTOLs are so fun to play.
VTOLs are pretty great for unnamed characters.
Hey, trauma. Those VTOLs are going to get that trauma quickly. I just remember the first time I explained to you, like, how the damage worked to the rotary blades, and you're like, that is absurd. And I'm like, no, you just gotta visualize that the blades are like chopping the AC-20 in half or chopping the PVC, and then it makes sense. They're chopping it. It's like, that doesn't make any sense, Nathan. No, it's chopping. It's chopping, man.
They're in the future. They've got friggin' armored rotors that can absorb plasma shots.
Chop, bro.
Chop. All right. And then possibly one of my, like, the most surprising thing for this was the inner sphere versus clan split. And, like, I don't know, I'm an inner sphere lover. Nathan's a clan lover. As far as I'm concerned, all of BattleTech is a 50-50 split on love for IS versus love for clans. And when we did, like, the surveys, that kind of bore out, right? Like, when we looked at the stats, they were pretty close for how many people were like, yeah, clans versus boo clans.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much 50-50, yeah.
But in the mechs that are brought, of the 149 mechs and other units, 130 of them were inner sphere. There's only a handful of clan mechs even showing up, which, it's evocative, when you show up to the Galatian arena and you've got one of those like fancy clan mechs, everyone's going to like ooh and ah at your mech. But I'm just surprised by this. I'm blown away.
Yeah, and actually, like, I know there was some BV and PV limitations, but like from a BV perspective, you could still get a Mad Dog under 2000 BV, a decent variant. And because you get the 3-4 pilot upgrade for free, obviously some assaults are out for clan, but it's still possible. It's still possible. So this is like a conscious decision people made. And myself as a clan loyalist, I still feel like I field inner sphere mechs more often than I field clan mechs. And like, for example, bringing the Mauler to the battle this time, or my secondary option, which was the Jenners. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting choices. But, it's also, maybe people were influenced by the concept of, mercenary. They're really in the mercenary mindset, which is obviously in Galatia at this time, there are actually planners and inner sphere people interacting and in many ways collaborating. So you could have a clanner in a mercenary force. That's totally possible. But I still think maybe the mentality was putting people in that direction. Yeah. But yeah, that's like
87% inner sphere.
That's big.
But, well, yeah, I hope that in the future, you clan lovers, you get the opportunity to maybe field salvage some shiny toys.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, isn't it? It's a really good point that I wonder how many, because we made a master unit table, and most of the mechs on there are actually inner sphere mechs. And so there are other ways to get mechs, but we need to make sure there is more options to get clanny mechs too. Yeah.
And like you say, it works because it sort of fits the style, Not everyone's gonna, like, most of the mechs in the arena are going to be inner sphere, but those few clan ones that pop up, they're kind of a big thing, These clans I'm hearing about.
Supposedly they
curved blades.
Yeah, something changed the nature of the inner sphere fundamentally. Some would say, I would say, for the better. I would say.
So, anyways, that's all the units put together. We are expecting over 8,450 tons of material to be dropped on Galatia for Super Mech Sunday. Just a giant friggin' mech brawl. And all in all, if you were to buy all these mechs fresh off the production lines, you'd be spending 1.2 billion C-bills. Making Super Mech Sunday probably one of the most expensive things in the galaxy.
Definitely. It's definitely greatly beyond the scope of Galatia. Who knows how Lazer organized this? It's insane, but... All right. Well, Michael and I, when we were looking through this data, we also did some classifications regarding the special moves that people shared.
Yeah, we want to know. What are your signature moves?
Yeah. When you kick the door in that ring and go, hoo-yah! What are you going to scream next when you pound your opponent? Michael and I, when we build these episodes, when we're doing data analysis, we collaborate a bit, but at the same time, we sort of take our own lens on it. So it's sort of funny that we always find lots of synergies between our perspectives, but also different ones, which make this a little more fun. Like whenever Michael's sharing his data with me, or vice versa, we're always like, ooh, that's interesting. Ah, that's fun. So Synergy. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard synergy.
That's our signature move. BungleTech.
Synergy. Hey man, that's on brand with Kodama. They're all about that synergistic vibe. Michael actually spent some time to classify the different special moves in different categories, and I found I've a different category. But Michael, what are your high-level categories that you found of the special moves that were being shared?
So I would say about 14 of the tables really were picking up the synergistic vibe I was putting down, and more or less named or described wrestling moves, which is probably appropriate for the arena. 8 tables described their like special tactics, which I appreciate that. You always keep your eye on the prize, always keep your head in the game, figure out how to win, figure out what makes you special. 6 people kind of just describe like weird quirks or habits that they have, usually describing them as annoying to others, which good, at least you're self-aware. Two tables had like special modifications for their mechs to enhance performance on the battlefield or score victory in a particularly exciting way. 2 lances specialize in the special move of not dying, which fair enough. You're not dead yet, and hopefully you all survive this as well. At least you have the trauma system on your side.
I like that. Yeah, you're not dead yet. I can't question your specialization. The data is in your favor currently.
Yeah, by the time your signature move falls apart, you won't be there to worry about it anymore. And then lastly, the redundant royals took this opportunity to recruit for their mercenary company. Enterprising. We love to see it. Go join the redundant royals. They're recruiting pretty much anyone.
Sweet. This is a fun recruitment opportunity. So I guess those that wash out in the game, there's always hope. Hopefully the redundant royals don't wash out and they have a good performance, and then but I guess even if they had a bad performance, people still might be like, oh, well, that, is an accessible group for me to join. At least they're, representing. Cool.
And what did you spot? I looked at a bunch of these and I'm like, those are wrestling moves. You, though, you have a keen eye.
Yes. Through my years training as a voiceover actor and my experience dubbing anime, I straight away identified 2 anime signature attacks: the Thunderclaw attack by Striker's Thunderbirds and the Rolling Thunder Punch by the 108th Razgriz Legion. These are anime attacks, bro. This is you need to deliver these with anime flair. Now let's do it. Do we want to do an anime delivery right now? Do we want to do an anime style Beyblade delivery of these attacks right now, Michael? Improv? Say yes, Michael. Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
I'll do Thunder Claw attack, and then you're gonna try Rolling Thunder Punch, and we'll do this like a live directed session. Oh, it's gonna be hot. Okay. Okay. It's gonna be loud. Okay. So the key is like build and then punch. Okay. So let me do the Thunder Claw attack first, and I'll do it as like a younger kid playing Beyblade. Okay, ready? I'm gonna yell. Thunder Claw attack. There you go. One take.
I hope that's what you were going for. I hope that was what was going through your head when you wrote Thunder Claw attack.
Your turn. Rolling Thunder Punch. Can you be like a deep man, like I'm a Rolling Thunder Punch?
It's always deep. I have no setting other than deep. Okay, here we go.
Senpai?
Rolling Thunder Punch!
Yes!
How was that?
It was beautiful. It was perfect. Anime attacks. You guys, I know you guys are hearing it. I'm going to add some sound effects to this and maybe some echo. So you guys, I mean, when you hear the sound effects and echo, I didn't make those noises, or Michael didn't make those noises. That's something called post-production that did that. It's magic. It's like movie magic. But anyhow, yeah, that's it. That's it. Cool. Feel free to clip it. Those lances, you can download those audio files if you want and just play them at your table whenever you want to. Totally. It's I give you 100% permission. But happy to see the anime vibes in here.
And I hope you all keep using your special moves, even if you find yourselves not in the arena of Galatea for some reason. I don't know why you would be not in the arena anymore, but just in case you do.
Yeah, man. If it works in the arena, it works on the street. That's what I say. works in the ring, works in the street. Works in the street, works in the back alley, works in the sexy party. Right, Michael? Give us one more tip, Michael. Just one more tip.
Do not use the Rolling Thunder Punch at sexy party time. The Rolling Thunder Punch is illegal.
Another lesson learned.
Thunderclaw attack, though.
Oh,
maybe.
Ooh. Nice. Okay, take notes, people. Once again, that's how you get in. Michael knows his shiznit. Well, okay, that's the data. And this has been actually super fun and super rad. Is there anything else that's floating around in our heads that we want to share with the world regarding this?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself?
I'm talking to
phrased.
you and me. Like, I sort of have a split personality disorder, I think. I don't know. My voice just comes out and then my brain reacts. It's like, whoa, this just came out. What should I do? So I don't know, man. You know me better than I know me.
Yeah, no. Go and check out the Global Campaign Initiative. That's your kind of jam. Sign up. You can get caught up. We'll have a couple missions out by this point. By the time you're listening to this, so you can do the first couple missions and get yourselves caught up. Fill out things if you wanna to share some of your fun with us, but no obligation. We're not your moms.
But if you want to get into sexy party time, I don't know. There might be some motivation there. I don't know. I've never been invited. That's why I did this, guys. So you know, the Global Campaign Initiative is like, man, how can I get invited to some sexy party times? I'm like, oh, if I organize this classic BattleTech thing, I'm sure someone will eventually invite me. Like, how could they resist? So anyhow, I'm sure participating is just as good. Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Oh, probably. Oh, all my hopes bashed. That was like the polite Canadian way to shut me down, eh? Yeah, probably. Maybe.
Well, that seems right to me. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure, bud.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. And that is all we have for today's episode. There's obviously been a lot of work going on for the global campaign, so we're keeping this one a little bit tight this month. Thank you again for participating, for sharing your passion, for sharing this information with us. And we will see you at the table.
This is Professor Michael presenting The Sphere We Live In. Named after Caesar Steiner, well known for his love of sexy party times in his younger years and his assassination in his elder years, the CES-3R Caesar was developed by Johnston Industries in the 3040s. At the time, Johnston Industries was participating in Team Banzai's Axeman project, a high-profile undertaking with lofty military and political ambitions. Project directors were concerned that Maskarovka infiltration could undermine the work or leak details to Capellan forces. To counter this, the Federated Commonwealth contracted Johnston to run a parallel design department on an unrelated project to draw attention away from the Axeman prototypes. Captured cataphracts were reverse-engineered to jumpstart the project and keep it moving alongside the Axeman's development. Despite this, the Axeman still entered production a year before the Caesar would, though the deception fulfilled its purpose. Despite seeing usage through the Lyran Alliance and Federated Sun forces, the Caesar never achieved noteworthy sales and was generally overshadowed by the heavy hitters of the era. Despite bringing a Gauss rifle and an ER-PPC to bear, pilots reported it being good, but not great. Mostly, it was preferred for desert planets, where its high heat-sinking capacity gave it an edge over similar energy-oriented loadouts. Ultimately, the strongest boosts to sale numbers came from patriotic Lyrans after Caesar Steiner was appointed General of the Armies for the Lyran Commonwealth Armed Forces in 3067, and after his assassination in 3068. To this day, many Caesars bear unit numbers that reference February 27th. Now you know about the sphere we live in.
And that brings us to an end of another deployment of BungleTech. Remember, you are not too late to get in on the Global Campaign Initiative action. Check it out, organize a table, and we'll see you on the battlefield. As always, you can find us via Discord, email, Twitter, and Patreon, all linked in the description. Also, if you haven't had a chance yet and you are able to, please take a moment to throw a review on your podcast listening platform, because with every review, a Kodama is hatched anew. Until next time, MechWarriors, good fortunes on the battlefield. Selah.
All podcast objectives complete. Podcast shutdown sequence initiated.